totally do that on purpose. Hey guys, how you doing today? I know it's a surprise-ish episode of MarkTalk, but I wanted to talk about something that's very important to me. And I think it's important to have good conversations about this type of things. So first off, welcome. If you like what you see, please press that like button, press subscribe if that's an option. As you might be aware, we are also now on twitch.tv, as you see on that banner right there. If you want to give that a like, subscribe, if you're going that can help with money and stuff like that, that'd be really nice. There's ways to help the show, there's ways to support the show. And whatever way you feel like doing, that's a big help for me and for what I'm trying to do with this show. And also, as you see, you got things like that guy right there on the multiple platforms right now. You can support the show also with Venmo at Mark-Levy. Also the Cash App, all that stuff. It doesn't matter. You're not here to give me money necessarily. What we're here to talk about today, so normally, as you see, it's Miscellaneous Monday. And I couldn't really think of a show topic today. So I wanted to talk about something that's very, very near and dear to my heart recently. Like 8 months ago now, I fell in love with Sequester Minis, and they're incredible. And I had such a great time with them. But as that community started growing and progressing and stuff like that, there became more and more games that were day-long games that I knew about. I mean, at least I knew about. I don't know about other people, if they'll sprout up that way or not. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. But I played about 10 or so of these day-long games, and I wanted to talk in a good, critical way about these games. I do have a guest also, which I might have more than one guest a little bit later. But this guest is someone that I really appreciate a lot. Been a cheerleader for his game since I played it and got robbed. I'm going to say that because sometimes that it does happen in games. But if you know this guy, you really love him. He hosts and creates Castaway. My dear friend Rob James. How you doing, man?
Hello, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good. I know you have a game coming up in 6 days. Season 4, which is really exciting. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Castaway Call Wrong.
Yeah, one of my favorite seasons of Survivor. For those that don't know, Rob hosts a Survivor-style game, and it feels very much like Survivor, which is impressive because you are sitting at your computer. He has the music, he has the parchment, everything. Yeah. And I know that your background is in escape rooms, right?
Yeah, so I work part-time doing escape rooms, and even before Sequester, I was hosting not day-long games, like 2-3 month-long games with the same people. So I've been doing the whole hosting thing since around 2002, 2003-ish, nice. On and off.
Yeah. Back in the good old days, right?
Of AOL Instant Messenger.
Oh my god! I just remember hearing whenever I think of AOL, I will always think of the dial-up sounds. Being 15 years old, just dial-up sounds and messaging. Granted, I never really got into orgs at all until, honestly, my first org ever started on March 14th, which was the day after the pandemic hit here in the U.S. Where everything shut down.
Yeah.
And it just timed out that way that this game that I was going to play with all my friends hosted that lasted a month long was then. But
you're down the rabbit hole now. There's no escaping.
There is an escape. There is an escape. I'm a busy person when I have a life. Okay, I don't have a life right now. That's all I'm trying to say. But I wanted So, what made you start hosting these games?
Boredom, pretty much.
Okay.
There's not a lot going on. With everything that's happening with the world being on fire and stuff like that. So before I started hosting this thing on Zoom, I was hosting games within the escape room community.
Uh-huh.
So I was doing my own version of an escape room. It was based off of a TV show that we got over here in England called The Crystal Maze.
So I've heard of it. I've never seen it, but I heard it's a good show.
Yeah. So myself and Josh Felix, we banded together and created our virtual version of the Crystal Maze, and I think we've hosted 200 plus teams since the pandemic started. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, and then Josh brought me in through the community and things like that, and then we saw Alex Banks. I don't know if you know him.
I know him. Yeah, I
yeah,
want to play this game really badly. So
yeah. Well, I've known him for years, and I saw him host, and then I was like, I can do this. I could maybe do something like that. So
no.
I made my series, and then it's just kind of gone off from there. Got to meet some lovely people, just like yourself. So
thank you, my friend. Like I said, like I had such a great time doing your game, even though it wasn't the outcome I wanted. Considering I went to literally every tribal council until I was voted out, and that's stressful, but it was so much fun, and like the energy was so good in the room. And like what I liked about your game was that it's always very competitive but very friendly.
Yeah. That was the main thing for me, because I know that there is a certain stigma with people being quite toxic and how they're not kind of welcome within this. So it's refreshing enough, because for me, like these kind of games, that breeds that kind of atmosphere, but there's kind of a nice kind of rule across the board for everybody that you know, if you're going to be like that, then you're not welcome here. And that's so refreshing. It's so much appreciated, and it makes the level of competitiveness so much better and so much stronger as well, which is just brilliant by comparison to what I came from and what I'm doing now.
And it was like really cool, like playing your game, because like I think the first time I was able to play with my friend Alejandro, who's a real life friend of mine. He ended up winning the game I was in. And like I became friends with Pinoy during it, and like just a lot of like really great people. I'm very happy. It was a really good game, because I feel like there was a lot of like connections, but they weren't strong connections. In the season I played, like I knew a lot of the people, but I didn't like know a lot of the people, you know?
Yeah. So because with everything like that, you get connections, and I'm still relatively new to trying to figure out like who's connected with who. I know people that make like charts and things to see like who's connected with whoever and things like that. So it's definitely a minefield to figure out, like, you know, I don't want to put like 5 people who are all very close friends together, and it's tough. So just working with what I've got. But do you remember what I told you? Do you remember what I said when you got voted out?
I was your winner pick.
You were my winner pick.
I worked my ass off. I'm very proud. I'm proud of my game. Let's start talking about like some of these other games. Like I want to because I've played a lot of them. I've seen a good portion of them, and have a lot of good vibes from a lot of them too, which is a very important thing to me. Give me one quick second. I get that screen share ready. There we go. I got myself confused with too many times having this thing open. So there's a Google Drive sheet that you get from, I believe. Rob, I forget, where do you get that? Where do you get the link for this? I always forget. But I know you get the link of like every game, the calendar, all that stuff.
So at Sequester Stats,
yes,
does have the calendar with everything, and then the host chat kind of, we add our stuff on there, and then Sequester Stats puts everything on this one.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna just show you guys is like the whole document of like games, and if I play them, I will let you know and my experience. And I will get a little critical. I'm not gonna get mean or anything like that, because that's not who I am. But I mean, I'm a big fan of good constructive feedback, if I can possibly do that. Our first game on here is Pyramid Scheme. And I will let you guys know straight up, I played this game twice. I've been in production now for 4 seasons. And the host, Ian, will be on probably in a few minutes, honestly. But Pyramid Scheme is a fun one. It's a very tough game to navigate. You have to know math and social status. And lay low while being smart, while going directly for your target, because there's no real place to hide in a Pyramid Scheme. Let me think what else. One of the things I love about Pyramid Scheme is when I played it, it was the earlier seasons where a long game would be no more than 2 hours. Now a long game is about 5 hours, and I think that's an issue that can happen. So, actually, got the host right here. My dear friend, let me welcome my friend Ian Dembling.
I heard you boys were saying my name.
I literally was just talking about Pyramid Scheme. Ian, do you know Rob?
I have never actually spoken to Rob other than just through various talks about different hosts doing different games. But I'm really excited to actually say hello to you, Rob. And I've heard such wonderful things about your game. I popped in for a little bit for one of them, and your background, tribal music, your challenges, like everybody seems so intense every time they're playing your game. And so it's just unbelievably fun to watch, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
See, this is how bribery works. You send them stuff through Venmo, PayPal, and they praise you. It's fantastic.
I mean, I'll just help the show that way. But as I was saying earlier, I was just talking about like how pyramid schemes evolved and grown. And like when I first played the game in the season 3 and season 4, a long game would be no more than 2 hours. Now a long game we know how long a long game can go and how long a game shouldn't go for pyramid scheme. And that's one of the things I love about you, Ian, as a host, that you're not anti-feedback. You're actually very pro-feedback, and you're trying to make your game evolve from a game that could very easily be a very simple math game, well, a very complicated but simple math game, to a very interesting social strategy game.
Yeah, and you know what's funny too, Mark, and I talk about this very openly about how when I first created this idea, it was supposed to be a twist that was like part of Sequester. Like, you know, people were submitting twists, and I came up with the idea of like, you know, how would you manage having so many different votes, and how you're going to give, you know, like if you're not just giving one vote, you're giving multiple votes, and how are you spreading them out? Are you voting all for one person? And I came up with the idea of similar to a safety chain where one person would have a vote and they'd give it to the next person. They'd have 2 votes and give it to the next. And people were like, I'm too confused. Like, this is too complicated. And so I was like, okay, well, like if you just practice a little bit of it, and then people were like, well, why don't you just do your own version, your own game of this? And I was like,
yeah,
well, I mean, I've always wanted to be a game show host. So, you know, it fed into my idea of like people thinking that this is a cool concept, and gathered some friends on a Zoom call and figured we'd try it out. And I've been so unbelievably overwhelmed with like the positive feedback about the idea and the creation of this, because I do think if you love reality games, but you feel like everything's just kind of the same, where you're dealing with people ganging up on you, voting you out kind of thing, this game forces you to not do that. You have to be able to call out different targets than the ones that you're always calling out, which I think really works to a lot of people's advantage, some people's strength, and then other people's weaknesses, because you really do need to work with new people. You can't have the same friends that you always have kind of helping you out through the game, and you really need to be ready, because I'm not really big on keeping the game same old. I like to throw a lot of new things in there.
Every season's been very, very different of a pyramid scheme. Like I think I've seen it's some of the game I've seen the most between playing it twice and going pretty far. I mean, I almost won it the first time, and then I was first or second juror the second time I played it, and then I've helped production for the last 4 games, and it's definitely a game I've seen evolve a lot, and I like that it's adaptable, you know, like as a structure it's adaptable
without a doubt.
Yeah.
I very much, I mean, you know, right, we aren't doing this for money, right? As much as you're joking about getting these PayPal links, which definitely support Mark Levy. I mean, I can't tell you how much I love listening to these. Just like a great way to start my evening every single day, being able to hear Mark be able to talk about all these cool reality shows. But besides the point, I'm not doing this for any money. I never, you know, it's just kind of a fun way to make new friends and build new bonds with people from all over the world. And so, of course, like if people are thinking about a new and different creative way to do something, I'm always taking that feedback, and I'm always trying to figure out a way to get people to have a really fun and exciting time.
And that's the most important thing. I want to move on to our next game, because, you know, I don't want to spend all the time just talking about about 1 or 2 games. I want to talk about all the games that I know of. Summit. I've only heard good things about Summit. I've never played Summit.
Have you not seen it?
I've seen part of it. I saw Cassie's game part of it, and it was great what I saw. It was really fun, and it was interesting, and the host was having fun. Everyone was having fun. That's the biggest thing. We want to see a game where people are having fun.
Yeah, and so it's for people who don't maybe know about the game concept, I can talk about it a little bit, and I actually used an element of it in our last Pyramid Scheme game. The idea of Summit, if you're concerned about, I don't want to be in early flop, congratulations, you're not going to be an early flop. You won't leave after 5 minutes in Summit. There is the general twist idea is that the eliminated contestants get to stay in the game, and they get to really mess things up, because they're constantly going to also be able to jump into rooms and mess up, you know, hey, this person was saying this, this person was saying that. And while voting is happening, instead of just constantly voting for somebody to be voted out, you also have the option, if you want to vote somebody back in. That person would then trade places with somebody else. So it allows for somebody, if like, say, you know, I know that I'm always an early boot, and so it really sucks. I don't feel like I get an opportunity to really showcase my game. Even if you get out early in this game, you have constant opportunities to get back in.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like Summit's one of the ones where I've been applying for it. I'm not gotten in yet. I just really want to be in it badly. Like the winner's circle is so cool. Like if Adam Selkov's your first winner, I'm in love with your game already. I think Adam Selkov's one of the more cool people out there and one of the better players out there that always gets screwed over in games.
Hang on, you've not been picked for Summit. Like how many have they had? Like 6, 5?
I think they've had 5. Yeah, I've not been picked yet. No.
They need to get off their. They need to get their butts. They need to cast you immediately.
Mark I honestly like. I don't want to wish badly on you, Mark, but I want to watch you get out and then just go in being like, "Who voted me out? Who said my name?"
I'm not Josh Small. I don't do stuff like that. Reality Rumble. I'm not sure. Well, Reality Rumble morphed into. It's Robin is one of my favorite people in the community. They've been a friend of mine since day one of joining Sequester because we were in our first Sequester game together. They have great energy about them, and Reality Rumble is a fun, messy game. It's adapted into its role, in which I've heard is really fun. I did not get a chance to watch that game, but from what I know about it, it's great. And Robin works hard at making sure games are fun. I want to talk briefly about Guinea Pig, even though that game is not a thing anymore. JC had a really fun game. I watched the second season. I laughed my ass off. And it's rare to see a funny game, like a game that's like genuinely funny, you know?
I missed most of the seasons. I think I only got to see like part of one of them, and it seemed very similar to stuff I knew. So what was like? Yeah, was there any especially fun moments?
It's a similar game, kind of like to Dina's The State Senate and Keith's Right to Vote, where it's like it makes sense, like in general, but it's just where I love the game the most is mainly because of how fun of a host JC is. Like that's pretty much it. Like it's not like the game's not trying to reinvent the wheel. Also, what I love about the like all the competitions are Jackbox games.
I didn't realize that you literally just played a Jackbox game. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and Lewis is the reigning champion. It's a fun game. It's a fun game. It's not like the best game ever, but I really like JC is why the game worked the way it did. You know what I mean? And like in this show, we stand JC. I love JC. I think he's great. I want to bring up Equilibrium, which is one of the most top tier games out there right now, in my personal opinion. For those that don't know, it's created by Dylan Hedda, who is one of the contestants of Survivor New Zealand. And he created this really fun game that's gotten some really amazing players. A lot of Survivor players now have played it too. The last season was it was a favorite season. And it's just a really fun game. He uses twists very well. It's one of the better twist games, I think. You know?
Yeah, with Equilibrium, I actually had the pleasure of hearing like the early drafts for things like how the game was going to work and what platform it was going to be on and how he's going to make it kind of different to all the different unique formats that are around this community. And what he's managed to do is build up like this kind of splinter group where it's just like Equilibrium is just like slowly taking over everything else. And it's like he is the umbrella and then we're just the kind of raindrops on top, just trying to hold on for as long as we can.
I mean, it's a feel like the game is really vast. You know what I mean? Like Equilibrium. Easiest to describe it, in my personal opinion, is it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Like if someone flaps the wings, what happens over here? You know?
Well, and you know what I have only seen bits and parts of Equilibrium as well, but one thing that I just especially love about this type of situation, right? Dylan got a chance to play on Survivor New Zealand. Spoiler alert, I feel like Dylan didn't get as much of an opportunity to showcase a strategy, like his strategic chops. And this game is so mind twisting and mind bending that only somebody with such a great strategic mind can come up with something like this. And it clearly shows that with how much Dylan puts time and care into this. And he really gets people who even have won these past reality games before to get so twisted in their thinking of how to strategize and make it through.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he had the winner of his season Survivor playing the fan versus favorite game. He had he had just a lot of really amazing, cool players from like all over the world. So much to the point of like, I stayed up late for that game because that game in our time zone for Ian and myself is at 3 a.m. And I guess for Rob, it would have been 7 a.m. for you then, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was just, it was just so cool because I feel like when people play Equilibrium, they play the fucking game. You know what I mean? Like they're here to win. No one goes Equilibrium to be first boot. I'm not saying that happens in other games, but like the idea of like people want to be in Equilibrium for the long run.
Yeah, and what he's got planned coming up in the next few months and then going into next year, what he's been telling me and some other people as well, it's phenomenal. Just like January is going to be such a good month for Equilibrium. So if you get a chance to apply for it, definitely do.
And season 7, as you see, is going to be all women, which I am so stoked about because some of the best players I know are women. That's just the way that is. And with the type of contestants he's been getting after that big fans' favorite games, it's just great.
And I think I think we all know that when a lot of these games, you get a lot of applications, but unfortunately there is a lopsided number of men who find themselves applying to these games. And if unfortunately, based on schedules or anything like that, sometimes it does turn into a women at a severe disadvantage due to the number, the fact that there isn't an equilibrium, right? For lack of a better word, of men and women playing. So the idea that all women are playing, there's definitely going to be a woman winner. Fantastic.
Now up to Right to Vote, which I'll talk about briefly because I think that game is over, but I'm not sure. I could have sworn it had a season coming up. But I was
I think we did but he forgot to take it off the calendar.
It was a fun game. It had its issues. All games have their issues. What I love about it is that Keith is a very fun host. And so the game, even though it can be stressful, is very, very funny. And again, it's like guinea pig in that regard where it's like, even if like it doesn't matter what the game is, but if you're having fun, that's super important. And Keith is big on let's have fun and make the game go quick.
He also came up with a really cool idea of the game, right? Idea that, I mean, I love when the name explains the game. The idea of the game was you needed to earn your right to even cast a vote in the round. So you had to do various different things, whether it was be in a challenge to cast it, whether it was give up your vote in a different round to be able to vote, whether it was you needed somebody to vote for you in order for you to cast your vote, something like that. So you weren't always guaranteed your vote the way that, Survivor may guarantee your vote.
Yeah. And it's a smart game. It's a fun game. It's definitely a game where it's like, in my personal opinion, it's like 80% to where he wants it to be. But I think once it gets that other 20%, it's going to be fucking awesome. If he does another season, of course. Let's bring up the greatest mind. I've only heard amazing things about this. I feel like I'd be first boot because I'm really, really smart. But oh my God, if I got to tell you about like the War of 1812, I'm fucked.
So specific. Why don't you just look up information on the War of 1812? You'll be fine. Right?
I have one weakness to my button.
I will say in general, if you are new to any of these games and you have an interest in just signing up for something, just to have an opportunity to try something, Greatest Mind is one of the best ones to start off with due to the fact that there is no ganging up on people because of past connections or anything like that. It is simply, if you are smart, you will get farther. And then the best part is when somebody else is going on their turn to get correct answers, everyone else is in a breakout room. They're having a fun time. They're talking. They're meeting new people. So it's a great opportunity to make good bonds that maybe later on will give you an opportunity to do well in a future game.
Yeah. And like, it's just, it's a game I really want to play though, because I do think it would be fun to play a game where there's no voting involved. I just control my own fate by what my brain is,
Yeah.
Next, I'm going to bring up one of the games that I personally love and can't wait to play again. I was actually supposed to play this season. I was this weekend. Double Twist. I was cast for one of the jury spots, but I was double booked that day. And, it's a good idea to not be double booked sometimes because these games are fucking tough. I can tell you that as someone that went moderately far in Rob's game, had a little break and played injury and we got to the final four. So, but Double Twist. Oh my God. Renzo is, first off, Renzo is one of my favorite people in this whole community. I think he is a fucking shining light bulb of a human being, a positive energy. And what I like about Double Twist is he's one of those people that has a very well-organized game. He has a big production team. The game is literally every round there's a twist, but there's a secondary twist too. And the game's format itself does change up after a few rounds. And it's not the shortest game in the world, but but it's a fun game. And like Renzo is big on keeping it fun and light.
Yeah, from what I've watched when I've seen the games and stuff like that, like there is downtime with every game, but it's always filled up with, the production team are really involved with the audiences, and sometimes if there's downtime with the players, then the players will get involved and just shoot the shit, whatever. And how he runs each round it's just a master stroke of genius. Like, I look at these games from a hosting perspective rather than a player's perspective, which is probably the wrong way to do it. But how he controls his cast and how he makes sure that everyone understands and everyone's on the same page. It's beautiful how he does it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go
Correct
first.
me if I'm wrong. I think that Renzo's game was the first one to have music playing during the interludes of the votes.
That sounds very possibly true.
And that was a genius idea because it gets people excited. It doesn't feel as long as it normally had been because you have a long time to be able to count the votes to make sure it's exactly right. Because you, as a host, like, I think about it too. I don't want to be the one that messed up a vote and caused somebody to be out when they actually should have not been out. I mean, Rob, you post a voting chart, right? Like, and then people are double checking your work. So it's a little bit different, especially for you, right? My stuff, everything's exposed out in the open. So then they're calling us out like, hey, I wasn't supposed to get a vote here. But I think with
that's
Renzo's
also when there's
game,
like 10 people
really
on your team, Ian.
Right. Oh, I can't say enough about the fact that, all these games, there's so many production people behind the scenes, not just the person hosting the game. There are such incredible production people. And I know that some of them are in the YouTube chat right now. So shout out to Ashley Keenan.
Ashley's there.
Obviously anybody else who's ever prodded for a game before.
Yeah. Zoom Brother, which I really, really want to find time in my life to be able to be to that part of that 4-day game. I know Rob knows about that game very well. I've seen a part of that game. I think the last season or the second last season, but I thought it was amazing what was happening. I'm just scrolling it down just to make it a little bit easier.
So I was in series, I think it was 3 or 4, something like that. Oh, yeah. Either way, Alex, I've known him for years, like before the whole sequester stuff and things like that. So he's just phenomenal with how he hosts, and much like with Renzo, how he controls his players and how he uses the stuff from the show, like the musical interludes, to really set up the scenes and stuff. So if you've not watched Zoom Brother, when there's the nominations, he'll play the nomination music and the veto music, and he was a massive inspiration on how Castaway is produced as well. And what he's doing now for his upcoming season, this 4-day game, he's shown me kind of the outline of what's to come. It's amazing. Just really, if you haven't put an application, just do it. It's going to be fantastic. Really, really, really well polished, and literally no one can say anything bad about him.
Like, that is literally the biggest rave I've ever heard. And I feel like I should find the time right now to clear out that 4 days and have 2 hours free a night to do it. Because I think that's so cool that it's like a multiple day game and it's literally just incredible.
Mark, I expect you to clone yourself so that you can get into all these games that you're saying you're going to apply to.
See, the thing is, like,
I would love more Marks too.
As of this present moment, I don't have a job. Hopefully that's going to change soon. I had a very nice phone call earlier today. We'll talk about that later. That's not a thing that's out of the air right now. But it's like that's when the games that I was really sad disappeared when it did. I was about to apply, and then it just disappeared.
Everything was fine, but I know Ashley Keenan. She's watching at the moment, and she was a runner-up. And when I watched season 3, I think she was in there singing the praises, and she's got, I can't wait for All Stars and things like that. So I think there's a good chance she'll be in that 4-day game potentially. She loves Alex that much.
She's amazing.
It's not a game unless Ashley has gotten runner-up in it.
This is sadly true. Can't wait for Banishment to become the game when that finally happens. So next is Split House, which I think is not active, but I was supposed to be in this. Actually, had to drop out because I got busy. I was unfortunately double booked during it. But I I've only heard great things. It's the game that Kevin Falk won, so you have to love it for that. And Keaton's a really nice dude. Did you guys those Split House never really streamed live, if I'm not mistaken? Like it just was private, if not mistaken, which is an awesome thing too. Especially with a lot of unfortunate shit that's been happening, but that's a whole different story. Don't want to get too deep into that. But so from my understanding, it's kind of like team-based situation. But yeah.
I think one of the best things about Split House, like when I first saw it, the first thing that stood out to me immediately was just the aesthetics. The aesthetics are beautiful. How we treat all the players like portraits and how we incorporated them into the graphics and things, I just thought was absolutely phenomenal. If you took care of that, then you know for a fact that the game is going to be fantastic. I never got a chance to watch it or anything like that, but from what I'd heard through the grapevine, it was really good. So I hope it does come back soon.
Yeah. Next is a game that I personally adored every second of. I played the same day I played Rob's game, but it's going to be Injury. And this game is the game that you want to play if you're always the first boot. If you find yourself going out early, you want to play this game. This game is fun. It's tough as hell. And it really fucks with your brain. And then when you get to the end game part of the game, it gets really hard to navigate, but really, really fun.
You know, it's kind of funny. I saw the title, right? Injury, and I saw the graphic. And I was like, this seems dangerous. Like, is somebody going to get hurt? And then later that week, I broke my wrist. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm perfect for this game. But it has nothing to do with that. You're not going to get hurt. No problems. You know, like you will not be injured playing this game. But it is looking really fun. And I love Stark's concept for it just in general.
I don't want to spoil anything because the game has got some really amazing twists that if you know it, the game's, that's the easiest way to put it. But it's a game you want to play. It's in like the top tier of this is fun, this is tough, and this will make you use your brain.
He's got 2 games coming over the next week or so. Seasons 3 and 4. Yeah.
I'll bring up Austin's quickly. Austin's was the first one, I believe, of all these, and it had a cash prize. Was very right. It was the first one, right? It was like that, like Zoom Brothers, like the Grant. It's one of the earliest ones for sure. And he always had a fun cast. Always had a lot of people watching on Twitch. And it was a good experience while it lasted. If he brings it back, I'd be very happy to watch it again or help again with the show. I want to bring up
doing it. No, is he gone?
It says closed, so I just assume that's closed. But I mean, that's up to him. Obviously, like if you tweet at him,
people get busy. I understand. It is a lot. It is a lot to host these games. I remember doing 2 in a week once. And then I think I did like 3 in that 2-week span. And at this point, I'm like, it's a once a month thing. Like it has to be like, you need extended time to take some time off just to, really make sure that every single game goes the way that you want it to so that it's not too overwhelming for people.
I want to talk about a game that's really in my world taking the world by storm, Banishment. I think it's literally one of the most fun games out there. It will not take more than 4 hours. There's an interactive component about it. It streams and there's commentary, all that stuff. It's just a really fun party of a game, and the audience controls what happens.
I didn't know how much people in this community were into chicken nuggets, but yeah. If you watch Banishment, you'll know why.
Oh, Rob, have you watched it yet?
I've seen little bits and pieces, but I've seen him more for his kind of other stuff that he's got going on at the moment. But from what I've been told from people that have played, Banishment is just a wonderful, well-produced, well-crafted game. So I will gladly take their words over it. Just everything looks so clean and polished and beautiful, and yes, I'm looking forward to playing eventually one day.
And I really enjoy the video recaps the next day because they clip some of the parts so that, even if you didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, you get to watch certain parts of it back and see the highlights of people just, making fools of themselves or calling out each other's names and stuff like that. And it's like,
it's so much fun. It's so much fun. It makes me really happy. And also, if you don't know who Room Limit is, that's Power of Veto. He's made a lot of really fun sequester edits and stuff like that. He's a good dude with good energy. It's a really fun game. There's a game tonight at 8 p.m. I believe I'm on commentary for that, which I'm very excited about.
Also, Room Limit, which is part of Banishment. If you follow Room Limit on Twitter, there is also a games calendar there too.
Yes.
there is kind of differences between the two calendars. So
yeah. Okay, so next is going to be High Rise, which I played on Saturday night. Loved every second of it. It's fun. It's pure comps. It's not the shortest game in the world. But what's also really cool about it is that like you get grouped up into people, and then you do different comps, and it's kind of like it's competition heavy. I was shaking and I was wired by the end of the game, and I couldn't stop smiling. It was just a really fun experience.
Can you share your favorite competition from it?
I don't know if they changed up their competition, so I don't know if I should.
Okay,
but like they're not like normal things. Like yes, there's like a scavenger hunt. Yeah, there's like cup stuff, but like there's like there was a really fun memory competition. Myself and Justice Rocher went on for 35 minutes, I think. We were the final two people, and we lasted like the last 10 minutes by ourselves, just trying to add more words. And like it just was, we were both shaking.
I heard of some of the comps. And they seem really, really fun. I think the other thing that you'll need to keep in mind if you want to apply for this one is usually there's some supplies that you'll need to get. So I think most of them is like household items and stuff, but really, really great production team there, putting together something really cool. And like just again, the idea that people have such really incredible minds coming up with all this crazy stuff.
What feels cool about that game is like it's like 3 games happening at the same time. It's like a giant game. That's the best way to put it. I mean, Rob was there too, so he can you can attest to that too.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. There is 3 games going on at a time. All the hosts that are in each individual room as well have that same kind of standard across the board. So if you do move from one room to another, it doesn't feel any different from the last room that you're in. As I say, the challenges were phenomenal as well. There's one with a blindfold, which I won't tell.
But that was really fun. I did really good until I stopped doing that one.
Yeah, the blindfold was good, and the casting for our season, Marks and I, was just wonderful. Like there was not a person in there that I went, oh, I don't really want to play with this guy or girl or whatever. Everyone was just fantastic from top to bottom. Everything was great. There are some tweaks here and there that can be fixed, but if it's up to the
if you don't realize that something in your game needs to be fixed, then maybe you shouldn't be hosting, because there's always something you can do to improve in general.
But with High Rise, there are on their second season. It's a learning curve. No one's perfect out of the gate. I'm still learning how kind of everything works, and I'm still making adjustments and things like that. I said to Josh Felix, who was playing as well after the game, I was like, the format's brilliant. Like it's a flawless format. There's just a couple of niggles, a couple of tweaks, and then it's perfect. It could stand the test of time. It could be one of the best games out there.
It's a blast. I want to talk about Murph's World, which I played in one of the seasons. And I guess it's coming back, which is cool.
The fact that you only have it as Murph the sock puppet. Yes, a sock puppet alone runs this game. You're correct.
It's a silly game. It's messy on purpose. That's the best way I can play it. I don't need to talk much about Murph's World. It's not bad. It's just I don't know how much he's changed it. And I feel like I'm the only person that's played it out of us 3. But I enjoyed it. Like I didn't have a bad time playing it.
I've watched it. Yeah, it's a very fun
It's messy. It's very messy. It's fun. It's messy. It's another one where if you're out, you're not really out because you can still control the game. Snake,
so it's an actual puppet. Sorry.
No. So it's a sock puppet that Ben O'Connell has.
Right. Okay.
Murph, and he does a voice of it. And it's very bonkers. It's a weird game. I mean, in the best possible sense, because I love Ben O'Connell. I love Ben O'Connell. I think he's genius. Next to be Snake, which I spoiler alert, I won the only season of it. If it's at the point right now where if Cassie has a game, I will win it because she's had 2 games, Sequester Mole, and now Snake, and I won both.
Look at you, Mark.
It's a really fun game. Basically what it is there's a team of bad guys that are trying to get to the end, while you, as everyone else, is trying to get to the end. And the goal is to eradicate the bad people, or else the bad people automatically win.
So it sounds like if you like Among Us, you'll probably enjoy that.
Exactly. It's a fun game. You can't really trust anyone. For example, I was really trusting AJ Topkowski for most of the game, and then I learned at Final Four he was Snake. Because there were 2 snakes and 2 good people left. And that was mostly what happened there. Twin Twist. I never seen it. Well, actually, I saw like an hour of it. It's not bad. It's just really, really long. There's like 40 people in the game, and it's long.
40 people. I struggle with 16. How does he control 40 people?
Well, like from my understanding, it's like you and me are on a team, but no one knows that we're working together. And if you get eliminated, I get eliminated until like a certain point of the game. But like, it was a game where I was watching, I was very confused. That doesn't mean it wasn't good. It just means I had no idea what it was. It just means I was confused. I'm easily confused. I'll admit that, a heartbeat.
And it probably allows you to have an opportunity to play with somebody that you're very close with, you know?
Exactly. Like it seemed like everyone was having a good time. And that's the most important thing, no matter what, with anything of these games. I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
I've only seen people coming out very, very happy about their time playing in it. But I do know that, right? Like you have to think about it at the same time. If I'm going to go into a cast of 40 people, you need to be prepared to have a long game. You know, I think that's the other thing is like, it doesn't hurt to ever just ask the host when they're casting, how long should I expect to be able to play this game? And as long as you know that going in, you're fine.
Yeah. And you guys are both good at like your 5-hour length games, I'd say. I think you guys are both 5-ish hours.
I try. I haven't gone more than 5 yet. Or I guess it was like 5 and a half.
That's not true.
Yesterday.
That's not true.
5 and a half yesterday.
We're never doing 7 again. I'm not going to let you do 7 again.
Did we do 7 last time? Maybe it was 7.
It was my first time helping the show.
Oh my God, it was an exhausting day. That's for sure.
Then we Chain Reaction, which I've heard of, but I don't know much about.
I don't know much about it either.
I know about it. Yeah. So they had come up with this. It was basically it's safety chain from Sequester, but then the person who's out gets to pick the next start of the chain. So perhaps, you know, like you're not always the one starting the chain, right? It could be the person who's last then says, I really want to help make sure that this person is safe. So it's just safety chain. My understanding is it's safety chain over and over again, unless they've changed something else around. And I believe I thought I saw Migs in the chat to be able to tell us about it, but I believe that is what the general idea of the concept was at the beginning. I know that Henry had originally like been playing it several times on Zoom with like Sarah Yell and Nick Chan and those types of people. So I believe that's what they were doing originally with that game.
Cool. We'll go down to Amnesty next. Amnesty is one. Oh, I did not mean to go away from there. Amnesty is one that automatically made some very, very funny headlines with Barack Obama. It's another quiz game, but there's a person trying to get people to get the wrong answers.
Yeah. So with this, it's very much work as a team, but also very much work alone. And basically, what happens is there's like a finite group of people, so it's like maybe 8 or 10. They have to win challenges to gain amnesty, and then a bottom few go into what's called the intelligence chamber, and then they have to either try and work together or separately to try and figure out which of them is like the saboteur. And it's really fascinating because like you can work 1 minute in a team and be great with somebody, and then the next you're shouting at them trying to figure out, you know, if they're the imposter or not. And it's really clever and it's really smart. And Josh has been doing it for a couple of years now. Yeah. And I won first season that he did like 2-3 years ago. And I kept saying to him, bring it back. And he kept saying, no. And then he brought it back finally. And he went, I'm so glad I brought it back within this realm, because the caliber of players and the standard of games that he's brought with him is just absolutely stellar.
I mean, and Josh is one of the smartest people out there. So it's really cool that, like, I would imagine that game that he would create would be super smart and super fun. And what I've seen from the game, it has been super fun to watch. So it's one of them that is like high on my list that I want to play.
And it's one of those games as well where it's like the fate is in your hands. It's like whatever you decide, it's on you. It's on nobody else.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into social strategy, nice, like as a starting point, definitely Amnesty.
I remember feeling like, because I watched some of the live stream, I remember feeling so dumb because I felt like some of those questions that they were asking were things that like, just like a dumb American should probably have known, but we don't learn it. So then therefore we seem pretty stupid. but it's, you know, it's a good thing to test your mind and intelligence and all that stuff, you know? So
yeah,
I did know Barack Obama's middle name though.
It's Elizabeth, right?
Yes.
Let me see. The next one is going to be Dark Horse, which is similar to Snake. What's interesting about Dark Horse is that it's there was like the first game there was one, second game there's going to be two. There were two that were as a team. The third game I know what's happening and it's going to be pretty fucking insane. And what Santi is doing a really good job of figuring out what this game wants to be and making sure it's a fun experience for all. I did get a chance to watch the other game the other night, but I heard it was
we were a little busy.
I literally went straight from my game to my show to literally just nonstop moving, just nonstop. But it's such a fun game, and I really just enjoy it. Like it was a fun experience to play. No one had an idea it was a Dark Horse, and I was a Dark Horse, which is pretty cool. Until like a guess happened at the end, but I was right out at that point, so it didn't matter. It's just a game where I think people should apply for it because I think that it's one of the ones that is doing massive changes between seasons in a fun, interesting way.
I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, but I know how much Santi puts time and effort into it. And I know, I guess the idea as well, kind of similarly, is that there's some sort of dark horse element and people are assigned certain roles. And if you want to be able to have some sort of game in which you are, there are chess pieces on the board, right? You got to be thinking ahead. You got to be constantly strategizing. So if you have a very good strategic mind, I would highly recommend as well. I know Santi is a fantastic person, so I could only imagine that the game is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I guess Stan Brother. Oh, I did not mean to scroll down too far. Stan Brother, I've heard great things about. It's popular. It's got a big following. I don't know much about the game, but I imagine it's a day-long Big Brother game, and it seems like a really fun game, and it seems like Austin. Austin's really nice. I met him when I was on production for Austin Smith's game, and it's just from what I've heard about Stan Brother is it's really good. It's really competitive. What about you guys? Have you guys seen Stan Brother?
I see some tweets about it and stuff.
Yeah. If the tweets are anything like the game, it's like if the house is on fire continuously and you're just running around trying to figure out how to get rid of this fire and you just can't. It's just ridiculous. And everyone seems so invested in it. And I'd just be completely confused. I'd be on my ass just going, I don't know what I'm even doing in this game, but they said it's got the community that it has as well. They're very passionate about it. I think they got a house guest from Big Brother to come and host a competition, if I'm not mistaken.
That's so cool. Not
too long ago. So that was pretty cool that they managed to get somebody in to host. And they do like all these different themes and it looks so well put together, but the people that they cast are just absolutely just insanely good and very, very dominant. And I would just be like a little puppy in the corner wetting himself. So
it's a big personality game, and you like to see that, you know. Like I like to cast big personalities.
Apparently it says they'll be hosting their final season after the holiday break.
Yeah, there was just parts of that, which is sad.
Yeah.
But Rolling, which I believe is what Reality Rumble has turned into, but I'm not sure. But I know that's Robin's focus right now. I know that they are working, so they can't really host a game until the holidays are over, right until the holidays start, pretty much. But if Robin is involved, it's good. That's the best way I put it. Robin's one of the best people out there.
I also really love Robin host a guest on their actual career.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean the fact that they work in TV makes it even more fun. The fact that that's a thing. I can't really say much on It's Rolling, but like people that played it had a great experience, and that's the most important thing, honestly. No matter what, you play these games for fun.
It's an acting game or something like that, isn't it?
Sort of. It sounds like. I'm really mad I missed the season that aired, but I heard only good things about it.
Yeah, it's like you have to have some sort of competition to be the star of the show or an actor in the show, I believe. And then there's like, certain times your characters that are behind the scenes or directors, stuff like that. Like there's basically you are assigned different roles based on how your performance is that all have to do with some sort of acting, or something that involves showtime and production stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like you're on production despite the fact that you're in the cast.
I've heard so Elemental Shift's next, and I've only heard amazing things about Elemental Shift. I hear it's going to be like my game that starts later this month, the adventure game. Plug for that, but whatever.
Hey.
Don't know if I need more people yet, but I'll figure that out in the next day or so. But it's a story game, so that means there's an actual story happening in the game. And Tyler Crespi is one of the more fun people out there in this community. I know that he's created this incredible game. I've had some friends that played the game with somebody that had a fun experience with it. And that's the most important thing when you really think about it. No matter what, if you're having a good experience, you come out of the game not hating yourself or other people. That's the most important thing.
This is Sequester meets Dungeons and Dragons meets like Pokemon. Like it's like so many different things that are very, very cool. You can't just vote somebody out normally. You have to do a lot of things strategically. There's a lot of, as it says, like elements, right? You have to vote somebody out using an element, and then there's like cross paths and like who can battle somebody better based on how many elements they have. It is truly crazy what he comes up with. And then obviously as well, like the storyline behind it feels very Dungeons and Dragons-y.
That's great. I really want, I'm happy that this guy is creating games because Tyler's got an awesome brain. He's kind of like Josh Felix to me, where it's like, I like your brain, I like how you think, and I like watching you play, and I like to see like what comes out of your brain. Next is going to be Twist the Virtual Experience, which I've never heard of. But it's open and it sounds interesting. It's got its own website. I don't know if I should say much more about that because I don't know anything about the game. And
sounds like there's a twist to it.
Hey.
But if it intrigues you by the name, please go to the website. You see the information right there. Next is, as you see, my friend Rob James over here's game Castaway, which I cannot say enough great things about. If you want what I want to say the most authentic Survivor experience while 4 hours and in front of your computer, I highly recommend it. Rob, as you've noticed, is an awesome dude. He's got good energy about him. He's got a good sense of humor about the game. And the game is fun. And it's one of those games where it focuses on, let's have fun. Let's do good challenges. And let's just be focus on being good,
Oh, thank you very much.
I've been saying the game is top tier since I played it. There's very few games that I'm like, this is one of the best games out there. In my personal opinion, if you if you want to play Survivor, but you're like me and you would die out there, play it.
But don't die though; it doesn't cover our insurance.
Of course.
Rob, is there anything you can tease for your upcoming season, which apparently applications are open?
Yeah, so applications close in 3 days' time, maybe 2 days. We've just reached over 40 applications now, so cast is still ever fluid. But we're experimenting with some new areas of the survival lore. We're going to bring in a classic twist from the show that we've not had so far, which I'm really excited to bring forward. And I think I was talking to Mark about it just before this started.
Yeah.
And I've shown one or two other people as well, and they seem quite happy with it so far. The only downside is that I do it on my own, so I panic a lot. When everyone's off doing the chats and things, I'm normally in the main chat just going. But it's nice. Yeah.
You do ones based off of seasons of actual Survivor. So for example, if you're doing one based off of second chances? Is there going to be a tribe swap after 2 eliminations? Is it like the same thing all the way around? Or I don't know if you want to spoil it, or like are you adding in?
Oh no. So we borrow elements from the season. So with the first season we did with Pearl Islands, there was a twist in it where I don't know if you watched the show, but Rupert got kidnapped by the rival tribe in one of the episodes, and he stayed with them, but then he went back to his old tribe. So I was like, oh, how can I capitalize on that idea? So the person that got kidnapped then got offered a chance to stay with that tribe, and we just try and tweak little things about that as they go along. So we
like if the CBS producers had even bigger minds, this is what should have happened to make an even more fun game.
Yeah. So we just try and capitalize on the existing twists, and then just try and tweak them a little bit, see if they work in a more better online sense or something like that. And people keep asking for heroes versus villains. I have no idea. All right, I've got an idea through the 10 seasons. So
I want to play the game again. I just want so badly. It's just watch the game. The next one's on Sunday at noon on Eastern time. I can't recommend it enough. Then we got Charlie and the Messy Factory, which I have watched a little. I don't think that he's doing it anymore, but it's fun. If you know Charles, you know that he's a very funny guy, big personality. The game is messy as hell. If the game happens, he announces it normally an hour before on Twitter, and it's random.org, so there's no real thing. Like, there's like no real challenges to it, just people being messy. It's really fun. If you want a fun, stupid, messy game, that would be hilarious. That'd be that game. Power and Safety, which I've heard only great things about. Nadeem is one of the smarter dudes out there. And he's had 2 really good winners so far in this season. He had Andy for the first season, Andy Vogel, and then Dan Clark from the second season. And I've only heard people play this game and have fun with it. I don't know anything about the game, but I've only heard good reactions from this game.
Yeah, I cannot remember the twist for the life of me, but I do remember seeing it and being like, "This is like, it was a lot of people all in a room, like kind of discussing what happens." Yeah, well, Carly played it, right? Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's a cool idea to be able to have these people like really, truly, maneuver through like, what will you do to get power? What will you do to get safety in a game? For sure. Rob, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, no, it's fine. Nadeem, great guy. Great horse. What he's done in such a short turnaround of time has been nothing short of phenomenal, and his casts are always good. Carly was robbed last night. I will die on this hill.
Carly is always robbed.
She was my winner pick. I'm furious, but no, both the winners are absolutely fantastic, and you can just see the level of detail and the care and the attention. It's beautiful. Just 10 chef's kisses. So
yeah. We got. I know this person's in the chat. They've been waiting for this to come up for like an hour probably. But Big Brother Culture Clash, hosted by Lewis Thorpe. It's a Big Brother game. I know that the season he just did lasted like 12 hours, but like I've heard even though it was like 12 hours long, everyone that I know that like played it had such a good time, like an absolute like top tier time. So that's saying something really good because like, if we're gonna spend 12 hours playing your computer, it better be a good time. Sorry. It wasn't 12 hours. It was 8 hours. But still. But like, I mean, if Lewis is providing a quality entertainment and it's 8 hours, then sign me up. I mean, if it's less than 8 hours, still great. Sign me up too. But like, it's that thing of like, if it's going to be good, if it's going to be a quality experience and I want to do it,
And I know, obviously, we're all very good friends with Lewis, and we know how much he adores this community and adores. Oh, okay. Hello. Right over my face.
Oh, really? He is right over you.
It's like a Michael Jackson thing. Like I was on TV.
Wait, let's do it again. I want to see what happens when we do this one, because I'm sure this is someone that's wanted to be you for some time.
Oh my God, stop. No, I know how much that Lewis like cares about this community, puts in so much time and effort into the relationships that he has here. And so you already know, I don't know how many he's done, if it's 1 or 2 seasons at this point, but I know that he's doing several more. And therefore I'm very excited about the idea of him, coming up with brand new stuff for everybody to get really excited about. And I know that he's been waiting for us to talk about this, so of course I gotta hype him up. And
he is such a good fucking dude. He's also somebody you do not want to go up in banishment against, because it's what he does. He comes back in after going to banishment. And it's like, I think this is like his 10th or 11th season of the game, honestly. But like, Lewis is one of those people that I've never seen Lewis half-ass anything. And this is not just me like being nice because he's in the chat. This is just real. Like, Lewis is one of those people that, as a human being, I know that he puts his whole heart into everything. So if he is caring about this game, then this game is going to be the shit.
It's always nice to have British hosts as well, because off the top of my head, I think there's only like 4 of us. So it's nice to see
Josh. Who else?
Alex, Josh.
Oh, Alex, yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice to see that, what UK is being represented. And he's on 13th season coming up now. So I'll give him credit for it. I'm tearing my hair out after 4. So
some of these games are getting to the point where some of these games were one-offs, and that's totally fine. I know the Totem Pole Mini I'll talk about next, because I don't think Emily's game actually happened. But the Totem Pole Mini, they happen pretty frequently. To be a patron for Totem Pole, I think they're like once or twice a month. I watched the one that happened a few weeks ago that Virgo won, and Virgo was incredible. And Matthew Netting came in second, and it was a really fun experience to watch a Totem Pole game happen in a night.
And Totem Pole in general has been around for a little bit, but in recent time has like really super obviously grown. The 3rd season got significantly more popular due to a number of additional twists and maneuvers. Wesley came up with such a really, really cool idea. And it was so hard for me at first, because obviously Pyramid Scheme is a way different game, but you still have a stacked order of something. So at first I had heard so many times after watching this show, like top of the totem pole. And there were multiple times I'm thinking probably in Mark's game that I'm like saying something about totem pole. I'm like, shit, like, no, I gotta say the pyramid. And I really think that if you haven't gotten a chance to watch some of the, like full out seasons that are out there, go on YouTube and watch season 2 and season 3, especially. The production quality.
Season 3 is top tier. I mean, like, you're getting quality entertainment with Sabrina and Josh in that season. Like, and like the whole cast is incredible. But like, it's
intense from the jump.
If you like Sequester, you'll like Totem Pole.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put that.
And what I like about Totem Pole is that they studied how the format was then at season 1, and how it's just kind of naturally evolved into what I think is now the perfect format for Totem Pole. Everything just works out. It's beautifully done. And much like with Banishment and all those other games that we've been praising for the last hour and 3 minutes, it's certainly definitely going to go the distance. Probably outlive Sequester. My hot take.
I can see that. I mean, it's definitely on the rise, so that definitely helps. Let me see. I know the next one I can think of. I mean, I was in bbRandom.org Undercover 2, which was in.
And I was in Undercover 1. It might be my most fun time playing a game.
It was really
pretending to be somebody else.
Who were you in yours? Because ours was cartoon characters.
So I didn't know that when it was saying like who's a reality star you admire, that you'd end up being that person. But I was like, okay, fine. I was Adam Klein. And I didn't know how to like work the game, because you have people like Ika Wong in there, Danielle Reyes, and like Dan Giesling, like way more like popular overall.
I was supposed to that season as gonna be Tom Green.
So I pretended to be like virgin Adam Klein, like just excited about the idea that any pretty girl wants to talk to him. And it worked. It got me through to like, I think I was 7th, which I was really happy about. And Yeah, it was a reverse HOH that took me out. I was so sad because it was like one person got the decision. They're like, Adam, go. And I was like, no.
Yeah, for me, I was Filbert from Rocko's Modern Life.
Nice.
Full on accent, like the nasal accent while having a geek voice added on. And it was fun. It's a fun game. A little, it's messy, but like if you're gonna play an undercover game, expect mess,
Well, for people who don't know, should we explain that like you actually have a voice changer? You go into the game with a picture of that character. So like you literally are never on screen for anybody until you get eliminated.
Like, oh boy, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what the voice was, but that just happened. But it's
I used to get so nervous every time I would like talk. I'd be like, "Is my voice changer on?" I just want to make sure is everything good. Like I wanted to make sure everything was all set. But yeah, it was. I think some people eventually realized that it was me, but like for a while, like I think people were like really shocked. I'm like, it's a really, really fun time. Jingle Max comes up with great twists, and I think Jen and Kevin help with that. Yeah. Oh, okay, it's on there. Yeah.
And we'll talk more about some of those shortly, as you see some of the names are down there. We got Weakest Link, which happens sporadically. Sariel is an amazing host. It literally is just the Weakest Link. If you like the Weakest Link,
that is my favorite show. So yeah, love it.
The State Senate. I was part of this on Thanksgiving Day. A really fun game. If Dina's involved in something, it's going to be good. That's just the way it is. Alex thinks it's a production. It's part of production. Vince is part of production. There's just a lot of really good, smart, like good energy people in there. It deals a lot with like the way that the politics have fucked things over in America. Like we get gerrymandered into a room by the person that wins the round, and it's a fun game. It's a game where a lot of communication could possibly not happen, which is a downfall and also a helpful thing. There was a person I was very much not working with that thought I was working with them, let's put it that way. And that kind of burned me in a bad way, but not really. But what I like about this game is that you're not going to walk out of this game not smiling. And also, like Summit, you can get back in until a certain point too, if you're voted out.
I did not watch the game because I was busy with Thanksgiving. But one thing that I love about, just Dina and the production team that put that together was there was a big emphasis on this game needs to be fun and enjoyable and family oriented for people due to the fact that there were so many people who were quarantining for Thanksgiving. And this was the opportunity for people to at least feel like they were part of some sort of community. So I obviously I wasn't, I was with people, so I wasn't going to do a game on Thanksgiving, but I thank people like Dina and her production team. And I don't know how many people were on it, but just thank you for doing a game like that to be able to make sure that everybody felt like they could be welcomed into somewhere.
I mean, she did 2 seasons on Thanksgiving. She's had one before. I feel like there's a 4th season coming. It's just a good experience,
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add about that, Rob, or just?
I liked what they did at the start where they were campaigning.
Yeah.
Campaigning for before the game started, which is kind of nice. And the thing I like about Dina, and if you watch Zoom Brother, the last one before the cancellation, there was someone that didn't turn up at all. So she was like, okay, well, I'll come in and I'll play it. And then she basically sacrificed herself so the rest of us could get a free round and play the game properly. So that was quite nice of her. And so she's a good egg in my book.
Yeah. Big fan of Dina Regab here. Instinct, which I'd never heard of until just this moment. But Billy created, and I love Billy Stevens a lot. He's a fun dude that has a good head for games, so I'm really intrigued what can happen. Do either of you guys know about this game?
No, I'm gonna take a look at it now, see if I can find anything for it.
I had not heard of it. No.
I can't talk about
good things about Billy.
What?
I've heard good things about him, and I'm aware of him.
He's a very nice guy, Australian dude, good energy, fun player to watch when he plays games. He was in that Equilibrium Fans' favorites game that I was talking about earlier. But I approve of this game in theory, unless the game is like Instinct Kill Mark Levy or something like that. I don't know. But I approve of it. Gonjo, who hosts the Monarch, first season was yesterday. Heard great things about it. My friend Henry Lange won, which makes me very happy always to hear that. I don't know much about the season, but I heard Gonjo has created a lot of games in the past. So that's cool. Like that means, there's been stuff that's happened already,
See, a lot of these games, they hide their format, so it's very difficult to try and figure out whether or not it's going to be,
Right.
good or bad or whatever. And I think that's something that needs to change.
I hide my format
in original formats, and it's not. And I think a lot of it is because it might feel a bit samey, but if you've got a good format, people will flock to it. So I think just as a general kind of thing for everyone, I know people want to protect their formats, I know people want to protect their games and things like that, but zero-sum games have been around forever. So you might as well just get everything out there, let the contestants understand what they're getting themselves into, and then that'll just make the flow of the games a lot better as well. Yeah. I've heard good things about the Monarch, but I need that kind of what are we getting ourselves into?
I mean, you need the hook. You need the hook. Besides, like I remember I almost applied to your first season, Rob, but I was like, I don't know anything about this game, or nor do I know who this guy is. And then once Bethany and Jocelyn told me I have to play it, I submitted as soon as I could. So I mean, that's just where that's where I stand on these type of things. Where I'm like, I know I like a Monarch. I like Monarch butterflies, but I mean, I know that the fact that a host has a record of being known as a good person is good, or has done games before, that helps my brain. But if I don't know the person, it's less chance I'm gonna sign up for season 1 than not, Like, for example, this is season 1 of Slapdash, and that game is a fun game. It's messy. I had no idea about it, but I know Michael O'Rear, and I knew they wanted it to be a quick game, and it's a quick game. It all happens in one room, and there's very audience interactive and stuff like that, with Twitter polls and stuff. So it's a fun experience,
I think that sometimes, I mean, even getting a couple games under your belt, and also just giving people aware, general concept, time constraint, how much time you're expecting it potentially will go until, is always pretty good. Obviously, Rob and I are in a little bit of a different situation because we've hosted so many that I feel like word of mouth also really helps. But I'm always willing to, if I see new people who want to have, certain games promoted, I will always, be retweeting that stuff and trying to, support others liking those statuses so that more people will potentially get a chance to see, because we got to spread the love. And one thing I do want to ask is, it looks like we're getting towards the bottom of the list. Mark, what do you think it would take for more people who maybe are part of loving reality games to actually participate in some, or maybe getting us to be able to reach an audience of more people who maybe are interested in the games but just have never been a part of this community before? Because I feel like right now people get the idea that it's uninviting.
So in my mind, and I'm going to use this for the adventure game, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. I know my Twitch channel, so I'll probably be broadcasting that way. Mm-hmm. But I do like the idea of it being broadcast in a way that's not just on a Zoom, so people can actually see it in a way and then interact in whatever way that means, with a comment or whatever. Also, what I think is a cool idea is not just a poster for a marketing thing, but a video or something like that. My big thing is, people don't know about your game unless they know about your game. That's just it. And that's the reason why, I know Rob is finally getting to fit many applicants finally after 3 amazing seasons. And I know that it took you a while, Ian, also to get to the point where you get a bunch of applicants and the kind of applicants you want. But I think it's really important,
all applicants are great.
The way that my brain is going, because I come from a theater background, so my brain's maybe a cool commercial or something like that. But it also nothing beats someone coming out of the game oh my god, I had such a great time saying you were so good in Castaway, or I had such a good time playing Pyramid Scheme or whatever,
Yeah. I'm saying, I'm seeing that people are actually reaching out via just using hashtags. Yeah, exactly. I was on TV. Your side, put Luke over my face again. I love it.
All right. I'll just put that right there.
I know that.
Yes.
I know that there are some people who have gone on record saying, "I will not apply for games. I will wait to be recruited for games." Don't do that. Throw in an application. Go in blind. See what's what. For Castaway, I never recruit. If you apply for my game, that means you're going to give me the time. You're going to give me the effort. So
I will also say, feel free to apply, at least for my game. I won't speak for every game. Feel free to apply with maybe 1 or 2 friends. Don't apply with like 6, because as long as people know that you're all friends, like we're probably not going to cast all of you. But don't mind like if you're applying with maybe 1 other person, especially if you don't feel like you know as many people. Hopefully you do both get cast so that you have the opportunity to at least feel like you already are going to get to play with at least somebody you know. Obviously don't rig the game or anything like that, but like if you're feeling like I don't know anybody, I'm a little nervous to like step in, maybe reach out to somebody that you did enjoy playing with and say, hey, would you like to apply to another game together? I don't think that that's a terrible idea with just a couple people. Too many, it becomes a pre-gaming, and that's not cool. But like as long as 1 other person maybe is in there, but also be willing to cut them, because that would be fun.
I want to talk about the uniqueness of Isaac's Hunger Games, where he had people submit for like a survey, and now like he just has, it's all audience based now. It's surveys and stuff like that. It's really fun to read what he does. It's all like more fan fiction than it is a game, and it's the Hunger Games, but he's writing a narration with people we know.
This is the one that's going on at the moment, right?
What?
Is this the game that's going on at the moment?
It's going on for like a few weeks now, like 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
It's just really fun to like read every day. Like it's really fun to be like, oh my god, is Brian Farrell going to survive today? Like that's like what every message, like everything I ever read is about it. And he does. I don't know about today.
Mark Levy wakes up thinking about Brian Farrell. You heard it here first.
Man. But that's the way that is. But let me see what else then. A word on the street. Jingle Max and Trevor. Holy crap, I love these 2 guys so much. I heard the first season was fun, a little bit sloppy, but not in a bad way, but in a way that they can grow. And I cannot recommend this game enough just from who's involved in this game.
And I know about the game itself. Do you know the game itself?
I don't know the game at all, but
I just heard about it yesterday. Trevor was giving me the pitch, and I really liked the concept of it in general. It's very similarly to, I love anything that's involving like a little bit of math and thinking about how you're going to wager a certain number of votes. So there is at least a little bit of that. People will get, +2, -2 advantages, or unable to vote certain number of times. And the only way you're able to find out about who might have stuff is through rumors. So you're going to have to constantly go around and like figure out which rumors are true, which rumors are false, and then be able to maneuver your advantages and disadvantages appropriately.
Also, if you're watching the game that we were talking about, Isaac's, save URL because we love URL here. That sounds awesome. Like it's just
URL is the biggest Hunger Games fan out there, so I hope that he does well.
It was so great coaching for Sequester Hunger Games. It was so great. It made me very happy because I love Hunger Games. I love Sequester. I love you. Like I love you, and I love Hunger Games, and I love you, and I love everything. And it was great. URL, I stand so much. Cool. Looks like a Twitch bot is doing something great. Awesome. That means people are watching. And let me see. Haunted. We're at the very end because I can't really talk about much. I can talk a little bit about the other 2 afterwards, but Haunted House Party. I know the Marcus brothers are super fun gamers and competitive as hell. I know they must have made an insane game. Season 2's, I think, this week. But
yes.
But I heard it was a lot of fun that people played from people on Friday, and that's great.
What is the concept? Because
I think it's a scary game, But like the Marcus
lives apparently,
like Andrew and Jason, they're such fun people. So like I can't imagine. Luke just gave a little synopsis. So everyone's got 2 lives, so that's cool. So you get voted out, they can have a chance to. Okay, I like that a lot. Actually,
I wanna like try and convince somebody who's like really afraid of things to like apply to this game by like saying like, oh, come to apply to like butterflies and rainbows game, and then they apply, and then it's like they're gonna be scared out of their minds.
Well, I mean, that's a cool concept though. Like everyone got 2 lives, and then like to get voted out, and then they have to get voted out again. Like I love that because like if I like the idea of like you have to burn someone twice to get them out. That's great. I like that. I don't know. I think that's cool. Sitting banks. I know nothing about this. I know Andre's a smart dude, so I'm imagining it's gonna be fun. Do either of you guys know anything about that?
No,
not a lot of information. I actually looked up sitting banks when I was doing the calendar. But everything's very much under lock and key or vault and key. All I know is that there's something to do with a bank, and there are 4 chairs, and that's it. But Andre is a brilliant player. I cast him in Amazon, and I went in completely underestimating him, thinking, oh yeah, he'll be going like early merge, early pre-jury or something like that. Made it all the way into the merge, and I was just like, you know what, you've actually surprised me, and your stock's gone up a little bit for me. Not that that doesn't mean anything. He's wonderfully fantastic. He's very, very adept when he comes to a player. So when he goes into this hosting, if this is his first time hosting, I think he's gonna have no problems.
And Lucas just did the first the challenge mini last night. I forgot who won. I saw it online.
It was Barack Elizabeth.
It wasn't Johnny Bananas. We're okay.
Yeah, it was Lane. And that made me so happy. I just realized that was Urel's mom that said it. Now this is Urel saying it too.
I think he must have gone in on his mom's account, or was it actually his mom who said that?
I don't know. I like the fact that in my mind, both him and his mom are watching this right now.
Yes.
But
please invite your parents to come watch you play. Honestly, I would love to do a Blood versus Water game. I would love that. Have people's parents play.
I'd be so scared of my parents in this game, in your game. My mom would not get it at all, and my dad probably would.
My parents would not understand a word of what was going on.
But also, like the challenge mini, I assume is going to be similar to the game show, the challenge, which is kind of similar to High Rise. So, and Lucas is such a good dude. I'm very intrigued on where this goes. I might apply it to a later season, personally, just because of what it is, you know. And also, I see there's been a couple of plugs for games coming up that are not just on this list. I'll stop the screen share because might as well do that. Because we're near the end anyways. But like I know that I got my game coming up either December 20th or 26th. We'll figure that out in the next day or so. The adventure game, formerly known as Choose Your Own Adventure Sequester. But a lot of that cast from that is going to be in this, plus a couple more people. Applications are still open. You can see that on my Twitter. And I see that Marcelo promoted the Melting Pot, which I love Marcelo. There's no way that game is not going to be a lot of fun. Any other games you guys know about coming up? Letting up.
Trying to think.
Aside from the ones we've attacked on the list, no.
No. I mean, like, thank you guys so much for coming out here, of course. And I'll start wrapping up the show. I made banners for you guys so people can like follow you. You can follow Rob on Twitter at FrazzyBaby on Twitter, and Castaway's next game is Sunday, December 13th at 12 Eastern. You can follow Ian at Pyramid Scheme 10 on Twitter. Season 10 is coming soon, and I believe it's New Year's Day. That's what it made it sound like it's going to be.
Yep, we're working on something special for that time frame, so stay tuned for that. I also want to say in general too, because I know that it's a daunting list, but I know that other people are potentially interested in hosting their own orgs, and if you ever have that if you're ever interested in hosting your own org, please do it and try and get somebody like one of us, either Rob, Mark, or myself, to try and promote it as well, because we'd love to be able to get more people excited about it and enjoy and have success in any games that you end up choosing to do. Because I know it is daunting at first, but if you have an interest in it, it is to me. I'm actually I love playing, but I feel so much more fulfilled when I watch, like something that I created in my mind actually come to life and have people try it out.
Yeah. And also like a lot. Sorry.
Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say a lot of these games are being a little bit under lock and key right now because of some unfortunate situations in the community involving Zoom bombers. So that's why it's a little bit harder to figure it out to see some of these games right now. I know Affy made that comment, but I think it's not a bad idea on the list to say how it will be distributed, But that's just, I agree. That's a pretty cool thing. What were we saying, Rob?
Yeah, if anyone wants to try hosting and they're not that graphically inclined, reach out to me. I've got a great starting pack how to get into graphic design, dead easy to use, loads of free programs, and it's really the most fun you can do is designing the game more than it is actually hosting it. Well, for me anyway. But it's nice to build that world. And if anyone's stuck, if you need any assistance, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help out.
Cool. And I'm going to wrap up the show with what's coming up this week. Tomorrow, I've got my new episode of Mark Meets World with Robbie Freeman. The episode from 6 days ago with John Galvez for the Plays the Thing. Very fun. If you're into Boy Meets World, I highly recommend watching that. I believe I'm having an interview on Wednesday night with Dash Katz. That's getting ironed out right now. And, of course, Friday, I'm really excited. We're having our last Brant Steele before Winners at War, which will be a week from that day. And that's going to be really fun. I believe I'm going to have that live with a couple of the cast members from there. I don't know how it's going to happen yet, but we'll figure that out. And, of course, you can tweet at me at MarkLevy85. Rob, Ian, thank you so much for taking part of this. I know this was a very last minute thing, but you guys were awesome.
Anything for you, Mark. Anything.
Anything at all.
Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys Wednesday or Tuesday or whenever you see me. I don't know, but